So, with the release of Paragons, I've been making a lot of late game videos recently where I've been super buffing towers to see how long they can survive, well, in the late game. And I've noticed from reading the comments of those videos that there seem to be a lot of people who aren't sure or are misinformed about what you exactly need to quote-unquote max buff a tower. So that's why I'm making this video. 3 common misconceptions in this game. So I'm gonna be here going over the info and facts of 3 specific things in this game, and hopefully that helps people understand what I'm doing in those videos better. So with that said, these 3 misconceptions are all going to be centered around buffs. So let's just start. Misconception number 1, you should go 520 Alchemist instead of 500 because the 520 buff is better. Fact is, no. All perm brew buffs are the same, whether you go 500, 520, or 501. To help you understand how alch buffs work, let me pull up the stats. So look at the info of the Stronger Stimulant upgrade, the 400 alch buff. If you look down here at the cross path, you notice that the 420 buff gives 1 extra second on the duration of the buff, and it allows you to rebuff the tower 1 second faster. But all of this is negated by the 5th tier upgrade because it's, well, a permanent upgrade. The Perm Brew doesn't give a stronger buff than the Stronger Stimulants, like, damage-wise. It's only stronger because, well, it lasts for infinite shots instead of, well, either 12 seconds, or 13, or 40 shots. In case you're not convinced by the stats, let me do a sandbox test. So we're gonna send out a bunch of invisible balloons, and we're gonna see how much a 401 Ninja does with a 500 out buff. See here? 2016 damage. Now we're gonna upgrade this guy to a 520 buff. Actually, we're gonna sell this first to get rid of it completely, and then get a 520. And if we send this out again, it should be 2016. There we go. 2016. Exactly the same. In case you're not convinced yet, let me show you a 000 super with a 500 out buff. Total damage, 1304. If we upgrade to a 520 and send this out again, let's see the damage. 1304. Now, if we're talking about the 501 out buff, I haven't seen many people talk about this one, saying it's stronger than 500. I think most people understand, but just to show you that the buff is still the same with bottom path, let me send this out again. So see here, 1304. The buffs are the same, no matter what. The only reason you'd want a 501 instead of 500 is if you're gated in time. Like, you need to buff 10 towers ASAP, so that would make Perm Brew throw the permanent buff on the 10 towers faster than you would 500. But if you have all the time in the world, then there's no point cross-pathing this guy. Unless, of course, you already have a 420 and you don't want to sell the Alchemist, then that makes sense. Just know, again, it's the same. And now for misconception number 2. Primary Training gives more damage as a buff. While it is true that Primary Training and, Primary Expertise gives a lot of buffs to Primary Monkeys, it doesn't give damage, which a lot of people seem to misunderstand. Because in the comments of my If Paragon Towers Could Be Buff video, a lot of people were like, why didn't I give a Primary Expertise buff to my Paragons? Because that's a stronger buff than P Training and would make a big difference. Well, to do that, we're going to look at the stats once more of what these guys give. So take a look at Primary Training first off. Primary Training gives +1 Pierce, P for Pierce, R for range, 10% more range, and increased projectile speed. Now, Pierce is not the same as damage. Let me give you a quick lesson for people who don't know what Pierce and damage means in this game. Damage is the amount of layers a projectile can, quote-unquote, pop. So, for example, a Dart Monkey does 1 damage because it turns a blue balloon to a red, and then a red to nothing. But a Sniper does 2 damage, 2 layers, because it turns a yellow to a blue, and then blue to nothing. Pierce, on the other hand, is different. Pierce is the amount of balloons a projectile can go through, not the amount of layers. So, for example, let me send you 5 Invis Balloons. Dart Monkey here, with P Training buff, has 4 Pierce, because it does 1 layer to 4 balloons per shot. That's what the Primary Training buff gives, +1 Pierce. So if I sold this guy, then he'd be doing 3 damage instead. Look at this. However, P-Training buff doesn't matter if there's only, say, 1 balloon, because, as you see, the dart will go through. Before, the dart disappeared once it hit the Invis Bloon comp. But as you see, 1 damage in time. If I add a P training buff to this 0/0/0 Dart Monkey, it'll still increment by 1. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really get more damage. You're only just getting it for the range and projectile speed. Single target is any better. So now let's take a look at the next tier, Primary Mentoring. This thing says it gives increased range and reduced ability cooldowns. So that's it. It doesn't give any extra pierce. From the stats here, it only gives +5 range, so just a very tiny amount. Nothing significant. This one, Primary Expertise, is what a lot of people were saying. I should have gone this when I was buffing my Paragons to the max. But if you take a look at the stats, it doesn't give damage. It's just, again, more range, more pierce. 7 range, not that big a deal. 2 pierce, you think might make a big difference. But we're talking about Paragon monkeys. And if you didn't see my Paragon stat videos for both Boomerang and the Dart Monkey, you should go check it out. I'll probably link it somewhere. But if you recall that one, I showed the graphs of the stats and the pierce of both Paragons, and even at degree 1, like, every projectile from both Paragons gives hundreds of pierce. So what good is 2 extra pierce? Honestly, not very much, if not anything at all. So that, guys, is the reason why I didn't go for the expertise buff. It's not significant enough. Let me just show you one more time here in case you're not convinced. A 0/0/0 Dart Monkey will still only do 1 damage, even with the biggest tier 5 buff you can give it. Again, Primary Expertise is only really a good buff if you have low piercing Primary Monkey. So you see now it does 6 damage when we have a crap ton of Bloons on screen. Just remember, it doesn't increase your ability to do more damage to a single target. Hope that makes sense. And now for misconception number 3, you can stack overclock buffs. I saw a lot of comments wondering why I wasn't overclocking the super buff tower alongside ultra boosting it. The reason is, it's no difference. However, NK has made it a little misleading because they actually give you visual indicators for when a tower is overclocked, even though it already has an ultra boost on it. That's just visual though. It doesn't actually give you more damage, and we're gonna show you by example right now. So let's take a look at the following here. We're gonna ultra boost both these snipers, 0/0/4, with one of them, 1 stack, and then we're gonna overclock the other one. So 1 ultra boost, here we go. Give overclock to the left guy. See? Has an extra icon versus this guy. We're gonna send out an Invis Bloon, and take a look at the damage. It's the exact same. So if that isn't enough evidence to convince you that it's just visual, then I don't know what to tell ya. See at the end here, both at 270. Now this visual thing doesn't just apply to overclock, it also applies to other things that can stack buffs as well on the same upgrade path, like Homeland and Call to Arms. There's a reason why I'm not using both village abilities at once when I'm doing super buffing towers, because it doesn't work. You can only have 1 active at a time, and to show you that, we're gonna have 1 sniper under a Call to Arms, 1 under a Homeland, and when I send an Invis Bloon, this guy shouldn't be doing more damage. Keep in mind, Homeland is a full map range buff. So let me start by sending an Invis Bloon using both abilities, and notice the damage. Actually, in fact, the one that only has Homeland is doing more damage than the one that has both abilities active. I wonder if this Call to Arms is overriding the Homeland buff. If you saw it earlier though, this right sniper had an extra visual icon for the Call to Arms, and Homeland as well, while this guy had 1 less icon, but it did more damage. Let me test with this a little bit more. What if I use Call to Arms and then Homeland? Does Homeland override? Let's take a look here. Okay, it seems to be the case. So this, I guess I just realized. If you use Call to Arms after you use Homeland, the tower that has the 100% attack speed buff with Homeland actually does worse, because now it only has a 50% attack speed buff. Very interesting. So even more reason not to stack 2 things at once, because if you use this after Homeland, you're going to be losing on a lot of damage. And of course, that's not all. Another thing that can stack buffs is the primary training buffs. So let me just first show you 1 Dart Monkey, an expertise. Just show you how much damage this guy can do. And it gets 5 shots in for 30 damage. If I add an extra P training buff, the icons will stack, but this doesn't give Dart Monkey more pierce. Let me just show you once more. Still gonna be capped at 6 per shot. Yep, back to 60. And if I add all three, to add 3 icons, expertise, P training, and P mentoring, you'll still see, again, same damage. It's just visual. And again, there's proof. Another increment of 30 damage. So yeah, that is it, ladies and gents, for this one. 3 common misconceptions in Bloons TD6. And hopefully, for the future max buff videos I do, I'll get less of these comments. And if you do see some people still misinformed about this, be sure to let them know. Tell all your friends if you see them stacking an Ultra Boost with an Overclock. Help spread the word and get the truth out. I know this is a bit of a different video, but I enjoy doing it, and if there's more misconceptions that I see around in the comments, or anywhere in general, then I'll be down to do another one of these. And if you do think there are other common misconceptions that I didn't include here, do let me know as well. And that is all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.